Namaskar, hello and a very warm welcome viewers. You're watching Bills and Insight, your one-stop destination for views, news and analysis of proposed legislations of India that have far-reaching implications and impact your life. I'm your host Kriti Mishra, and today the spotlight is on Marine Aids to Navigation Act 2021. President Ramnath Kovind has given his assent to Marine Aids to Navigation passed by Parliament. The Act provides for a framework for the development, maintenance and management of aids to navigation in India. Before the detailed analysis, let's take a look at the highlights of the Act. The Act replaces over 90-year-old Lighthouse Act of 1927. The Act incorporates the global best practices and technological advancements and developments. It complies with India's international obligations in the field of marine aids to navigation. So why did we need this new law? Well, the administration and management of lighthouse and lightships in India was governed by Lighthouse Act of 1927 for safe navigation. At the time of enactment of Lighthouse Act 1927, there were only 32 lighthouses in the then British India spread across 6 regions: Aden, Karachi, Bombay, Madras, Calcutta and Rangoon. Post-independence, 70 lighthouses came under the administrative control of India, which have now increased manyfold to meet the growing needs of the shipping industry. Presently, there are 195 lighthouses and number of advanced radio and digital aids to navigation administered under the Act. The need for enactment of a new law was mandated to provide an appropriate statutory framework which reflects the modern role of marine aids to navigation and to be in compliance with India's obligations. And to discuss the impact of this crucial act, I'm joined by an illustrious panel of guests. Joining us in the studio, Mr. N.Muruganandam, DG Lighthouses and Lightships, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Government of India. Mr. Vishwapati Trivedi, former Secretary, Ports, Shipping and Waterways. He's joining us through virtual platform from the National Capital. Also joining us through virtual mode from Lucknow is Mr. Rakesh Singh, General Secretary, Indian Coastal Shipping Owners Association. I welcome you all on Sansad TV and thank you so much for joining us. And before we commence our discussion, let's take a look at how our parliamentarians debated this bill.
The role of marine aids navigation has moved from a purely passive on to interactive to technology guidance and aids such as on vessel aids to navigation and from radio to digital based aids to navigation.
तो ये भी पता लगा लेता है मछुआरों का जहाज कि किस जगह पर बहुत सारे सबसे ज्यादा मछली हमें कहां कैच मिलेगा, ये भी टेक्नोलॉजी से प्राप्त करते हैं और वो भी नेविगेशन से प्राप्त होता है। और नेविगेशन के टेक्नोलॉजी से ये भी पता चलता है कि जो समुद्र के अंदर का करंट है सर, उस करंट से पूरी दुनिया की मछलियों का मूवमेंट किस दिशा में है और किस सीजन में किस समय हमको कहां कितना मछली का कैच मिलेगा। तो ये है तकनीकी और ये है टेक्नोलॉजी जिससे बढ़ते बढ़ते हम यहां पहुंचे हैं।
This bill will provide legal framework to adopt the latest technologies, meet the requirement of best global practices for safe and secure navigation and protection of marine environment.
All right, Mr. Trivedi, let me begin the program with you. And before we get into the specifics of the Act, we understand that lighthouses serve two main purposes: as a navigational aid and to warn boats of dangerous areas. It is like a traffic sign on the sea. But sir, help us understand, how has the technology evolved over the years?
You know, the technology has gone really far so far. I mean, since 1927, the Act, when the Act was enacted, as you see, there were only some 40 such lighthouses in the entire Asian subcontinent. And well, as time went by, the governments, individual governments, well, especially Government of India, which used to have this, still has this huge department called the Director General of Lighthouses and Lightships. They manage the lighthouses, and several of them came up during the interregnum from 1927 till today. And yet, as technology was developing, I wouldn't say that the utility was the same as it would have been in 1927, but I think they still remained some, as they say, a beacon of hope for ships which wandered off here and there. But today, with the GPS and with the satellite navigational possibilities, the VTS systems in place, the technology is far better enabled to guide and navigate the ships. But as you would see in this act, not only does the promotion of these lighthouses and other navigational aids as aids to navigation, but also for cultural and tourist values. And I, for one, am very fond of the romance attached with the lighthouses. I still remember a book written by, this was the French lieutenant's woman, was a very big story all around a lighthouse.
So what are the salient features of this act and how would it impact the entire sector?
This Lighthouse Act, as earlier everybody know, it is 1927, enacted in 1927, and more than 9 decades has been passed. The purpose of the lighthouse are keep changing. Initially, the lighthouses mainly served as a day mark for the fishing boats and mariners near the coastal waters. When the technology advances, the radio aids to navigation has come into picture. That ship technology, construction of ship technology also improved a lot worldwide, and the mariners need to be guided for their safe navigation near the territorial waters as well as the international voyages. So in this aspect, this Lighthouse Act, new act, has brought very broad additions and directions to the enabling provisions in the field of marine aids to navigation, enabling laws which empowered the Directorate General of Lighthouses to serve better, mainly in the phases of the advancement of the technologies. The main purpose of this act is giving enabling provision, as I already suggested. The latest technologies, incorporating the satellite-based technologies, we are already, the DGLL has established the marine aids to navigation like DGPS, that is satellite-based augmented GPS. And as a NavText, navigational text, Nav Area 8, it is an international obligation that every country has to provide in that zone. So Nav Area 8 category, India falls under, which we provide, DGLL has provided navigational warning messages up to 300 nautical miles. Apart from that, this act, total 14 chapters are there, 52 sections, which bring enabling provisions like tourism development, that is the alternative utility of the of the lighthouses. As the envisioned by the Honorable Prime Ministers, even in the Mann Ki Baat, we have selected more than 75 lighthouses for the tourism purposes, which is going to be spreaded. Already we have catered more than 4 lighthouses. We have been already started the works. And international obligations, if you come in to say that International Monitoring Organization, SOLAS Convention 5, that is safety of life at sea, which is mandated the marine age to navigation, since the India is the signatory to the IMO, and another IALA, that is International Association of Lighthouse Marine Age to Navigation. India is a signatory, as DGLL is signatory to that. It is obliged that International IALA Maritime Voyage Convention has to be followed. Apart from that, another international obligation we can mark in this new provision is Nairobi International Convention on Removal of Wreck Marks.
Okay.
As a DGLL, this new provision as earmarking the DGLL to mark as soon as any incidents of the wrecks or accident, it is enabling the DGLL to immediately mark. We are doing already the works. We are already having the Salaya chain and in Gujarat coast, and this wreck marking with the advancement of National Automatic Identification System, that is very, very potential and powerful. I am sitting in my ministry, my secretary or anybody who has the access to the database can have the complete coast as been surveillance. How many ships are in which berth, which location, one can able to mark in a single monitor.
Right.
Very advanced technology the DGLS already implemented. And with that provision, we able to serve very better, minute service for the safe and secure navigation of the mariners.
Absolutely, sir. So there are several developments for safe and secure environment for the miners. Let's get some industry perspective as well. Mr. Singh, coming to you now. What does this law mean for the industry? How will it promote ease of doing business?
From the industry point of view, when the rules and regulations are very important, shipping is a highly regulated industry and every act or rule is very pertinent. And what you would like to see, the rules which are or acts which are in force are in sync with the international conventions, and the current practices which are being followed in the industry. So on these two accounts, this act comes very well, as earlier the Director General of DGL also said that now it has incorporated Nairobi Wreck Removal Convention, which was passed in 2007. So that was in its need of the hour. It's done. And so the act is now in line with the other conventions we regulate the business of shipping. That's from industry point of view, it's for us to easy to understand and adopt. And before I go to the other point, I would like to say what Mr. Trivedi said about the romance with the lighthouses. The olden days, the charm was that when you see the first flashlight 20 nautical miles away from the land, everybody is happy on board the ship which is making landfall. Obviously, later on, you started seeing it on radars, but the charm of seeing the glow of the lighthouse, has never been lost out. And if I may add to one more story, that the importance of lighthouse was so critical, and it was such a dedicated job that the nuns in Europe used to maintain many critical lighthouses. So that's the story goes. And so from the industry point of view, we see what is the key takeaway in this act. If you notice that India is signatory to International Association of Lighthouse Authorities, that itself has been changed. The term has been changed to International Association of Marine Aids and Lighthouse Authority. So we had to bring an act which is in sync with the convention that we are signatory to. So marine aids to navigation and vessels traffic service management system, which is now becoming more and more important and obligatory as the traffic is going on Indian coast. So all that will be now done through the statutory framework, and the marking of wrecks has been already discussed was an obligation, international obligation. What is more important is that when a vessel is on the coast or in a territorial water or even exclusive economic zone, the navigation safety is important. Also is a concern of security needs to be addressed. So as far as my understanding goes now, many of the lighthouses have very advanced equipment, powerful radars to monitor traffic on the coast, and ships are fitted with what is called AIS, automatic identification system, which can be traced. So we see that the very positive step. Training and certification of operators, of course, is an internal matter of DGLS. We have much to say. But what we are really looking forward to is the other side, which is about development of historical, educational, and cultural, values of these lighthouses. And as an industry representative, we are looking forward to participating and really to realizing its full potential.
Mr. Trivedi, the Act applies to the whole of India, including various maritime zones, including the territorial waters, the continental shelf, and exclusive economic zone. Please help us decode that, sir.
That, of course, is fine. These are definable boundaries and defined in terms of nautical miles. Basically, lighthouse is a kind of a optical device. So it operates all the way. You cannot stop light by saying this is territorial and that is international. So just the light goes. And the beauty of these lighthouses is the character. Each lighthouse is defined as a character, and there is a dictionary or there's a book on each ocean-going vessel which defines what I mean to say. And this is for the lay viewers of this program. You know, you go to a lighthouse, it flashes. To me, it doesn't mean anything. But to a mariner, to a ship person, it matters a lot. If a lighthouse flashes 10 times in a second, this is Visakhapatnam. If it flashes 3 times in a second, or there is a timeline, then this is Chennai. And that is Bombay, or that is this. So in the night, a lighthouse is recognized by a long distance. No territorial, no coastal, no. As long as you can see it, you can see it. So, but if you can decipher its code, you will know which lighthouse on the border, because you can match it with your book. Similarly, during the day, you see a lighthouse, you'll see these stripes. You know, so though every lighthouse has a character in terms of stripes and in terms of flashing frequency. Now, that's a very important historical fact and very, very remarkably tracked all over the lighthouse facility. But while we are on the jurisdiction of the lighthouses, I would also like to say that the marine navigation includes pilotage, and it also includes port police, and it, as Captain Rakesh was saying, it also includes powers of the harbor. They are somehow been taken and put in the Indian Ports Act. Now, there is a little bit of some kind of a sync that needs to be done between this and that. I mean, there are 2 acts addressing a similar problem and a common problem. And then the third point I'd like to say through this program is a very important one. Lighthouses still have an immensely important role to play in the navigation in the inland waterways.
Yes.
Captain Rakesh is drafting the rules for the government, and I would say that there should be some kind of a provision that these authorities must understand that navigation, the nighttime when the waterways, the Ganges, the Brahmaputra, and the other Godavari and Krishna, when they are fully developed waterways, they will have to give some kind of a night navigation. Of course, a GPS would be there, but river is very thin to navigate your boat through. So the chances of hitting a shoal or hitting a side or hitting or some obstruction is very high, and that may not be available on a GPS. Thank you.
All right, so every lighthouse has a defining character. That's a very, very important piece of information that you provided us, sir. But moving on, the Act also provides that no person shall be allowed to navigate or to operate any navigation or aid to navigation, including any ancillary activities or any vessel traffic service in place, unless he holds a valid training certificate. Sir, I'd like to understand from you, how will this training and certification process take place?
Yeah. This vessel traffic services, there are different type of vessel traffic services has been defined by the international organizations. We as a DGLL, we work in the general navigation area. That is called the general VTS, Vessel Traffic Management System and Services. And another type of service in the VTS is the port VTS, where the VTS is operated within the port area limit. So in order to provide the strength in this act, in this new act, there is a competent authority has been created. The government of India is empowered to establish the competent authority so that it consists of the committee members consisting of the other members of the shipping industry, so that it will be an harmonized service within the country. And second thing is the training. The shipping industry, as everybody knows, it is a standard format and it is our international obligations that everybody should undergo the training. But in the vessel traffic service and the marine aids to navigation operation, the Worldwide Academy of IALA has been instructing and guiding every country. It is a must for every country which are signatory to have the trained manpower in this operation, because they are operating the very, very sensitive, the ships, the person who is guiding the vessels in the vessel traffic area, if the channel is blocked or any accident is happened, the whole channel will be closed. And if there is any pollution, if due to any accident or any event, then the whole country's economy is in a very shabby.
Yes.
And it also take time to clear and effort to be need. So the IALA is insist, it is an international obligation now, any operator in the vessel traffic services, and we are, as a DGLL, we are established the Marine Navigational Training Institute in Calcutta. And we impart training in this field of vessel traffic services, operators, managers and supervisors. Apart from that, operation of the navigational lights also we are already conducting training. In this provision, the new provision is allowing the DGLL to empower and facilitate this under the law of the Indian government. So this is very, very important aspect of the Marine Aids to Navigation Act.
Absolutely, sir. So there are empowering and enabling provisions.
And also, I would like to add, apart from this, the government also encourage the private institutions.
Yes.
That it is required mandatory approval from the government, and we regulate them that how to train, what is the syllabus, what is the portion, what type of qualification, examination pattern, so that it is conducted in a very harmonized, and they are capable when they deliver the pass out, they are capable to do the very important job in the VTS operational center.
All right, sir, you're talking about private participation. Let's quickly go across to Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, I have last 2 minutes on the show. What are your suggestions? DG Lighthouses is listening to us.
Yes, thank you very much. One of the suggestions I see in the Act, there's a provision for districts. So Indian coastline will be divided in various districts for the administrative purposes. I would suggest that if these districts for the purpose of marine aids navigation are brought in sync with the districts which are for the regulation of shipping. The Mercantile Marine Department, India has got 5 districts right now, starting from Kandla, Mumbai, Cochin, Chennai, and Calcutta. So if they are brought in line with this, then from the administrative point of view and from compliance point of view, it will be a lot easier for us as well as for the Lighthouse and the respective department, the Mercantile Marine Department of the Government of India.
So this initiative is part of the proactive approach adopted by the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways by repealing colonial laws and replacing them with legislations catering to modern and contemporary needs of the maritime industry. On that note, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Trivedi, Mr. Singh and Mr. Muruganandam. Next week, we'll return with incisive analysis of another important bill. Till then, take care and stay tuned to Sansad TV. Namaskar.